Hey class, this is Katrina Berg, and I am doing this video because I'm not going to be able to join you guys tonight as scheduled for our virtual classroom. My apologies, but I wanted to go ahead and give you an opportunity to at least review the subject matter and think about it of what we would be talking about tonight. I wanted to just highlight some trends for 2021 in the e-commerce world and the social media world. What's really happening. COVID has impacted us this past year and really changed a lot of our functions and behaviors as consumers and also as brands. So let's go over some of those highlights. Live streams is one example. So consumers have gotten used to and become more engaged with brands that are live streaming. It can be a product, it can be a service, it can be a guest speaker. There is more of that content out there and it's easily accessible, and people have gotten used to accessing it, if you will. So live stream is one example. Stories. So, what has happened with stories recently? Instagram's a great example of how this has taken off. Companies found out that photos versus videos were more engaging. The audience stayed with the video longer than they might with photos. And because of that, you will see more stories evolving and more engagement happening. So again, this is a response to what consumers are doing. This is a response to how companies are tracking and watching the consumer engagement and how they're adapting to create more content that the user will watch and stay with. Because that's also an important point. Engagement isn't just the clicks, isn't just the views, it's how long are they actually staying on your page? How long are they watching the video? Virtual reality is another trend and point that I want to talk to you guys about. It's becoming more and more accessible. There's a lot more happening with it. And then there's also augmented reality. So, virtual reality, I think Oculus is one of the products where you can engage in virtual reality. If it's gaming, if it's products, whatever it might be. I think Pepsi might be doing some promos with that. So in any case, virtual reality, augmented reality can really be done with a smartphone. So if you think of Snapchat maybe or filters on your phone, that's a very simple example of augmented reality. So be aware of VR, virtual reality, and augmented reality, AR, and how they're happening in the market. One of the other things that we can talk about is social commerce. So we've gotten used to shopping online. It's been happening for a long time. I think COVID really helped pivot us to a lot of what we're doing is now online. And our comfort level with online shopping has also escalated to a larger degree. It's easy to do now. Social media is even creating storefronts where you can buy directly in the social media platform rather than having to go to a website. So that ease of shopping is really happening. And the term that you would use for that is social commerce. Purpose-driven campaigns. So switching gears a little bit, when we're talking about companies and what their values are and what consumer values are, more and more consumers are shopping with companies that they value their messaging, their product, their brand. So Coca-Cola is an example of a company that has really used that campaign well. It's a campaign of inclusivity. They're using it to promote their product. So that's brand awareness. But if you're aware of the brand, then you're also aware of the product, so to speak. So those purpose-driven campaigns, the inclusivity, the messaging all matter. And that also leads us to the trend of authenticity and transparency. There's more and more information out in the world today about brands, what's happening with brands, where they're sourcing their product, how their CEO is maybe conducting himself or herself, and also about just what the brand's doing, brand awareness, their values, and so forth, to go back to that point. Consumers will choose you based on your authenticity and transparency. So the more authentic and the more transparent you can be, the stronger brand awareness and loyalty, really, in a way that you will build. And that goes back to knowing your core consumer, knowing their core values, and making sure that they align and you're getting that messaging out. Um, a final trend that I want to mention is the 55 plus consumer group. So that consumer group is now fully engaged online. They're buying online. They trust that their credit cards are going to be secure. Um, they are involved in social media. So this demographic now is also swelling up and being a part of the online environment in a way that maybe they haven't before. So again, if this is your demographic, then engage them where they're at. They're online now. And this sort of leads to a subset, which is called micro communities. Micro communities are also a trend and something that companies are watching because it's a great way to test what your video might be doing, some test marketing, some test messaging to see what the response is from a smaller community before you roll it out to your larger community and your larger core consumer base. So again, just be aware of how the testing's happening online. Be aware of that smaller micro segment that is a follower of yours that is engaged with you. They're valuable in what they provide. Go back to brand ambassadors. They're a great messenger for your product or service as well. So again, those are just some tips and trends for 2021. Live streams, stories, virtual reality, augmented reality. And then we're also talking about social commerce that's happening, purpose-driven campaigns, inclusivity, authenticity and transparency, and then the 55 plus global community and what's happening with them online and their engagement. Thanks so much, class. Let me know if you have any questions, and don't forget to go in and write a short summary of the video. Just a sentence will suffice in your virtual classroom so you get credit. Thanks. Let me know if you have questions.